last exercise for tools of Photoshop, and today we're going to have fun with what's called transforming objects. All right, so I'm going to go to my tools of Photoshop folder and open up the file called transform.psd. All right, and then we're going to see all these objects on layers, and it's actually going to tell you what you're going to do to it with transforms. So I just wanted to point out that where did I get this background? Where did I get these objects? So I wanted to show you two resources that you might end up using a lot in photo. One is Pexels, and this is where you can get high quality, copyright free photography. So maybe you have an idea and you're like, well, I want to put this person on a volcano or a mountain, and it's like, well, I can't go outside and just take a picture of that, right, to use in my Photoshop composites. So, but if you put something like here, like mountain, other people have gone out and taken pictures of mountains and crazy stuff, and all this is free to download. So just a hint here is you can go to the image, select it, and then pick how big. I'd always get the largest pixel count to download. Okay. The other one I wanted to show you was another stock free, copyright free popular images, and these are called under stickpng.com, and these all have transparent backgrounds, and what that means is that they won't have a white background. You don't even have to worry about cutting it out and stuff like that. It's already cut out for you, and then you can add these things into composites. So free transparent PNGs, 36,000 and more, to actually, and they're always adding more to add into your composites for fun. All right, so let's get over to here. Okay, so one thing is you stack, you file load as a stack all these images, and one of the problems you have is like my background isn't the size that I want it to be. Okay, so we're gonna scale the background, the sky, so that it's the right size, so it actually takes over this transparent background. So I'm gonna go to edit. Well, first of all, make sure that you actually select the sky scale background layer, and then go to edit, transform, and then we're going to do the first thing where it says scale. Okay, so notice that when I'm pulling and I'm dragging, that it's letting me kind of scale it any way that I want to. If I hold down shift, it's going to scale perfectly. So it will be restricted and it won't warp it. Okay. Now, while you're doing this, you might find that some things look pixelated as you're kind of transforming and scaling them. However, as soon as you hit enter return, okay, then it will lock in kind of the scale that you brought it out to, and then notice that it tries to create more pixels for you to make it look more high end and better looking. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is skew the jellyfish. So I'm going to select the jellyfish layer, and I'm using the move tool to move it so you can see which one I'm going to actually be skewing, and go to edit, transform, and then I'm going to select skew. All right. Now what this lets me do is I can actually pick every corner and kind of play around with the angle of that. And I like that. Okay. And when I like it the way that I want to, again, you can do the check mark over here, or you can just hit the enter return button to skew it the way that you want to. Okay. The next one I'm going to pick is the jellyfish distort. So that's selected. Now I'm going to go to edit, transform, and I'm going to distort this jellyfish. So again, I can pull in from and notice that it wasn't restricted. The other one was restricting me to like proportions. This is let me bring in, anyone, and it doesn't matter. So I'm going to distort this one and kind of whiten it and kind of make it whatever you want. And then when you got it the way that you want it, you're going to hit enter return or the check mark. And I'm going to put this one off over here. Okay. The next one I'm going to pick is the astronaut, and I'm going to rotate him. So what I'm going to do is edit, transform, rotate, and then I'm going to hover over the corner. Notice that the arrow turns into this curved arrow, and when I click and drag, it's going to let me rotate my astronaut into space. So rotate him so I can tell that you've rotated him, and then hit enter return or the check mark to complete your transform. All right, above that, I'm going to select the orange and I'm going to warp it. So I'm going to go to Edit, Transform, and then I'm going to warp it. And then notice it has a little bit of a different grid around it, and it's going to let me make more points, and it has these little handlebars that I can distort my orange. So I'm going to try to make it look a little bit more three-dimensional and squattish. I like that. I'm going to kind of squish down the leaf a little bit. Okay, so you can kind of tell what the warp tool does, and then I'm going to hit enter return when I got it the way that I want it. I'm going to put this guy up here with the move tool. Okay, next with my goldfish, I'm going to flip it. So I can flip it upside down, or I can flip it so it's moving the other way, which is what I want it to do. So I have it selected. I'm going to go to Edit, Transform, and then notice that I have Flip Horizontal or Flip Vertical. And sometimes I even forget. I'm like, what is horizontal? What is vertical? So if I hit horizontal, notice that it goes the other direction, which is what I wanted. But I'm going to hit Command Z, and I'm going to do Edit, Transform, Flip Vertical, just so you could see. Oh, maybe you want it to look like it's dead at the top of. Oh, that's so sad. Command Z. I'm going to flip it back to the way that I wanted it to be. Edit, Transform. I'm going to hit horizontal because I want it to look like it's coming from off the left here. But that's how you can flip an object. Okay, next I'm going to pick the crab, and I'm going to change the perspective of the crab with the transform. So Edit, Transform, and then I'm going to pick perspective. And again, we get the grid here, but I just want to show you that I can kind of change the perspective, how I'm looking at it. Do I want it to go back into space? Isn't that cool? I love that. So I'm going to make it look like it's coming out from outer space like that, and just like Star Wars, and then hit enter return. Change the perspective of these guys. These bad guys are attacking my astronaut. Okay. The last thing we're going to do here is, what if I want to freely transform something? Okay, so I just wanted to show you that if I go to Edit, Transform, notice that I didn't go over Rotate, because that was kind of pretty, straightforward, that you can rotate it exactly 180 degrees, 90 degrees clockwise or counterclockwise. So those are the ones that I didn't go over. But I can also select an object, and I'm going to use the keyboard shortcut on my keyboard. I'm going to select the key. I'm going to select and hold down the Command key, and then also select T. Notice that comes up right here. Okay, and so that lets me rotate. I can size. Okay, so it's letting me do some of those things, and I can click and drag and flip. Okay, so freely transforming all these things. Okay, so I'm going to change the size of this over here. So that's kind of a shortcut to get to transform, and you can do those things. Rotate, scale, flip, but you can't really get into the warp and perspective and all that stuff with the transform. When you got it the way you want it, hit enter return, and we are done with this. So I put all my orange things, my warm colored things on the left, my cooler colored things, and then we got the rotating astronaut in the middle between these two groups of space compositive fun. Okay, so I'm going to say File, Save As. First name, last name, underscore, transform, underscore, today's date. Ooh. And I'm going to save it as a JPEG, and I am done with my exercises for transform. Now you're going to make a contact sheet and upload it to Canvas.